Barbadian families told to reduce materialism to help curb crime. A St. George man has a narrow escape after an accident involving a transport board bus and a car. And in sports, a lack of fitness cost Ashley Nurse his place in the West Indies T20 team.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sophia Cambridge with the Sunday edition of the CBC Evening News for today, September 18th, 2011. In our top story tonight, parents' organisation Parados is tonight questioning the role of the family in steering young people away from a life of crime. According to Monica Graham, director of Parados, or Parent Education for Development in Barbados, greater attention should be paid to reducing the thrust toward materialism, which has crept into society.
Barbados is not accustomed having so many deaths, so many murders so often. Every week now you're hearing of somebody else who is killed, and sometimes in their own homes, in their own communities. And we're really sad about that, but what we want to help parents to understand is that your job is to impact your children, to influence them from the time they're little. And if your plan in your family says that we are going to live these particular types of values, these particular types of virtues, we're going to inculcate these into our homes, then that's how your children will grow up.
Ms. Graham was one of the participants at a community conference at the UWI Open Campus this weekend. She says Parados wants to reach more young people in society.
If we can start and reach the younger ones, Parados wants to reach the persons in the schools, in the primary schools, in the secondary schools, in the nursery schools even. And if we can start teaching from little, influencing, impacting, trying to show that it can be done, I am sure that we will make some headway. And perhaps we may lose some of the older ones here, but if we can get those younger ones, I am sure 10 years down the road that we can see a turnaround in a lot of the areas in Barbados. And it has to start in the homes. Parents have got to take responsibility for what happens to their children.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for St. Michael South East, Hamilton Lashley, is calling for more support to be given to the Barbados Youth Action Programme.
Yet, this society has found it very, very difficult to recognize and to partner with this organization. I just want to show the hypocrisy that exists in our country sometimes. Well, at the same time, the governments of St. Lucia, the government of St. Kitts, the government of Nevis and Antwerp have accepted their program.
The number of people in Barbados suffering from Alzheimer's disease is growing. President of the Alzheimer's Association, Pamela Brereton, says in 2007 there were 3,500 cases, but the situation is significantly worse now. She was speaking at a special service at the St. George Parish Church. Ms. Brereton says Barbadians need to find out more about Alzheimer's disease.
We need more awareness, and we need to look for more resources. It's becoming quite critical. But we also have to remember that we are an aging society, and we now, not only the government, but we as people also have to look at addressing this problem.
Ms. Brereton also says people need to change their approach to how they treat people with Alzheimer's.
Families need to be more tolerant and loving to their elderly, and also encourage their children to understand that granny or granddad is not crazy. For that matter, neither is mommy or daddy, just that they have a disease that causes problems with their memories.
Over 20,000 Barbadians have received free basic information technology training across the island over the last 9 years, with 5,000 benefiting from more advanced training. This has been revealed by Social Care Minister Steve Blackett, who says there's now growing demand for advanced IT training, especially in lower income communities.
Now, Level 2 classes were first introduced in 2008 after numerous requests by past students for further computing training. There are now 15 resource centers and 6 schools offering training in the community technology program. This expansion to the schools was initiated, to ensure that Barbadians who may have experienced difficulty accessing resource centers because they do not live in close proximity were given the opportunity to benefit still from the free information technology offered.
Minister Blackett delivered the feature address during the graduation ceremony for the ministry's Community Technology Program at the Garfield Sobers Sports Complex. He said the free Community Technology Program will soon be able to facilitate online classes as well as distance learning.
We also aim to facilitate online, distance and remote learning within lower income communities and to fill gaps created where youth of lower income communities were, for a variety of reasons, unable to maximize benefits offered in IT during their formal school attendance.
We'll return with more news in just a moment.
Sleep right for the rest of your life. The mattress professional with over 40 years experience in manufacturing. The best and most durable mattress in Barbados. For hotel and domestic use, such as Restopedic and Orthopedic. Guaranteed to last 20 years. Credit and debit cards are accepted. Visit Sleep Right, Charleston Avenue, Culloden Road, St. Michael. Telephone 437-5337 or 43-SLEEP. Or Happy Angel, Lowlands Main Road, Christchurch. Telephone 428-7805. Sleep like a king. Wake up like a prince.
A St. George man had to be rushed to hospital after the car he was travelling in was involved in an accident with a transport board bus this morning. Airy Hill resident 44-year-old Noel Neblett was a passenger in the vehicle driven by 30-year-old Sean Abrams of St. Jude's, St. George. The accident occurred around 7 this morning at the junction of Bridge Road and Bank Hall in St. Michael. Neblett was trapped in the vehicle and had to be freed by fire officials who responded with 2 tenders. He complained of pain to his head and to his legs. The driver, Abrams, also sought medical attention at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. There were no reports of injuries to the bus driver, 44-year-old Anthony Eiffel of Water Street in Christchurch, or to his passengers. Police have made a breakthrough in their investigation of a recent murder of a 33-year-old Christchurch man. Detectives attached to the Southern Division have a suspect in custody in connection with the murder of Kerry Bailey, formerly of Kingsland Terrace, Christchurch. Bailey was shot on Sunday, the 10th of July this year, while attending a fete at the Townman Disco, Newbury in St. George. He died later that day at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Barbadians will have to pay more for liquefied petroleum gas or bottled gas as of tomorrow. The cost of a 100-pound cylinder will increase by $6.80, moving from $169.88 per cylinder to $176.60. The 25-pound cylinder, which was being retailed at $45.11, will now cost $1.70 more at $46.81. The cost of a 20-pound cylinder will move up by $1.36 from its current price of $36.09. Several of the island's celebrities joined with the Kiwanis Club yesterday to stress the importance of reading to scores of young children. The event, part of the Kiwanis Pride of Barbados initiative, took place at the Satjay Mall. Among the personalities were former Calypso monarch the Mighty Gabby, John King, and CBC's Larry Mears. MP for the city, Patrick Todd, also attended. Mr. Todd encouraged the youths to read regularly.
I know that it is argued by researchers that many people who end up in prison oftentimes have challenges with reading and therefore lack self-esteem. And therefore it's argued that if we can master reading, as they say, the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, then we have a good foundation upon which to build a successful career in whichever vocation we pursue.
President of the Kiwanis Pride of Barbados, Cynthia Blackman, said the children were provided with access to books written by local authors.
One of the fly checks for our project this year was the distribution of our Superbug series book, and every child that leaves here today will receive a copy of this book. This book was written in-house by K. Fiona Jones, and each child will receive a copy of this book. One of the things we also want to encourage you as part of our 3rd anniversary celebration is to visit our recently launched website, www.kiwanispride.org, and you will be able to get further information on all the reading programs and the other programs that we do in the Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados.
Barbados has added another person to its growing list of centenarians. Governor General Sir Clifford Husbands joined the family and friends of Henry Clark to celebrate his 100th birthday today. Mr. Clark, who's a resident at the geriatric hospital, has 2 daughters, 3 grandchildren and 2 great-grands. The centenarian was in great spirits as he reflected on his younger days.
I do carpenter work, I do shoemaker work, I do shop work, I do lots of things. It's just too much to put in a book. I tell. So it's to gain a living. See, if you want to gain a living in Barbados or anywhere else, you have to make up your mind or set your mind to do it.
Sound advice indeed. And Mr. Clark's daughter, Kathy Lane Rollick, says her father was always there when they needed him.
He was very protective, and I think even though that we became adults, he was still very protective with our partners, things that we chose, careers, work, stuff like that.
Happy birthday to you, Mr. Clark. In news from the region, former Belize Prime Minister George Price is reported to be brain dead. That's according to a senior official in the party that he founded. However, his family remains tight-lipped about his medical condition. The 92-year-old veteran statesman is hospitalized and on life support at the Belize Healthcare Partners, a private medical facility in Belize City. Price, the Central American CARICOM state's first prime minister, led the former British Honduras to independence from Britain in 1981. Further afield, troops loyal to ousted Libyan leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi have been maintaining strong resistance and holding strategic ground in some areas of the country. This has slowed the progress for anti-Gaddafi forces in loyalist strongholds like the coastal town of Sirte.
Commanders on the ground know it very well. You heard my colleague Ben Wiedemann there talking about some of the weaknesses within these forces. These guys are not trained professional soldiers, and so as a result they are not suited, not trained, not equipped to fighting in these intense urban environments. They have developed certain fighting techniques that have done them some good over this 6-month conflict, but what they're getting into now is moving street to street, almost building to building, and what they need, their commanders say, is the ability to move in, clear and hold this territory and gradually creep out and make the cities more secure. What we see on the ground is something far more chaotic than that. It is columns of these fighters going in their big armed trucks, blasting away, making a lot of noise, making some progress, advancing, but in reality not making a lot of progress when it comes to really securing the city, because the pro-Gaddafi forces are concealed within buildings, within the nooks and crannies of these urban environments. They may not be as big in number or big in firepower, but they are armed, they are organised, and from up on high and from within these concealed locations, they are able to rain down bullets and rocket-propelled grenades onto the revolutionary forces, who are in relatively open ground